Okay, we're now recording the second review date for the 2022 AP exam. I have about a dozen students that have joined me here for the review session, and I want to remind everybody to please put your questions in the chat so that I can keep this recording anonymous. That way I can broadcast it on the internet. Thumbs up if you heard that. Cool. So I've got thumbs up from everybody, almost everybody here. Thank you. Okay. My plan for the second date is extremely humble. If you didn't join me before, I have a section in Neo that's a separate unit called review materials. In the review section, I have a page called the all review materials and plan. There's an extensive chain of linked documents, a bunch of other resources, and a review calendar of what I suggest. Then there's a copy of the old video, some planning on the last days before the AP test, and the recording of the previous review session has now been added. I'll make another addition to this page when I publish tonight's recording. I'm hoping that everybody has been able to use these materials. If not, I hope that you've reached out to me. Remember that if you don't have access or you can't see something, email is the best way for me to include you. I don't want to repeat anything from the previous review session. Since it's recorded, everybody can see what they got. But if you missed it, here's the content of last week's first review session. Last week's first review session talked about what to expect on the exam, what's on the AP classroom page, so on, what you see on this screen. Tonight, I'd like to just talk about one step in your review. In my plan for your review, it says from April 9 to 16, you're supposed to get all of your paperwork together, get it organized by unit. If you're in my section, get your readers, get your study guides. You can read what's highlighted on the screen now, but essentially, during this week that we're in now, ending Friday of this week, what I want you to do is improve your notes, get everything together, and pack in as much information as you possibly can. First and foremost, use your textbook, use your paperwork from class, compare your notes to other students. If you have anybody who you trust in any section of my course, from the first two terms, from another period, whatever, if there's anybody who you trust, who you think is studious and really wants to grind it out, start looking through their notes, see what's different, compare the content. I don't understand this one. Mine is blank. I missed this assignment. I was gone that day. The most important thing is to try to put onto paper anything that you might not have put onto paper so far this year. That's the first step. Second option is to go to the AP Classroom students page and check their course description. On my shared screen, I'm going to try to find it. This is what you see as an AP student when you go to courses, AP Environmental Science. And if you scroll down, there's a course and exam description. I'm going to click on it now. Hopefully it works. Big ass PDF, or no, this is actually HTML. It's a huge file. If I'm not mistaken, I really don't see the page numbers here, but I think it's got like 120 pages or something. But if you could please look at the screen now, you might want to make a note on a Post-it. I'd like you to check 30 pages 31 through the end of the unit. These units right here, units 1 through 9. There's ecosystems, biodiversity, population, earth systems, resources, land and water use, energy resources consumption, atmospheric pollution, aquatic terrestrial pollution, and global change. Some of those overlap perfectly with the units in my class, but some of those are scattered across other units. So it can be a challenge for you if you go to my energy unit and you check their energy unit. It's pretty easy to say, oh, this is missing, but it goes here in Jose's stuff. But sometimes it gets a little trickier if you're looking at one of their units that doesn't align perfectly. But the goal here is to look through their course description. I'm going to randomly pick a page. Okay, so human population dynamics. See what they want you to know. And then check your notes like birth rate, mortality rates, death rates, access to education. I've seen those things before, so you can put a check mark. And then factors limiting global human population carrying capacity, Malthus, you've seen that. If you find something, a rule of 70, I was never very good at that, I've never heard of the rule of 70, whatever, then this is the part where the College Board is telling you where to improve your notes. It's really critical, like brain mapping science, tons of research, my master's degree. It's really critical that any new information be added to your existing papers, at least stapled into your current packets. If you have space on another paper, do your corrections for the rule of 70 on other papers that are about the rule of 70. But I'd like you to use the College Board's course description to add material into your notes. If there's something on here that you've never seen, like, oh, dude, I've never heard about global wind patterns, then maybe you can just find the most relevant, closest thing in our class and just try to stick a new paper right in between your existing papers. But that thing about physical organization is really important for your brain to map the information inside your head. So you build tactile, real, physical, three-dimensional maps that a part of your brain will use to identify the information in your brain. So keep it all organized on paper. That's really critical. Again, this is just to fix up your notes. Option number 1, use the materials from class. Option number 2, use the materials from the College Board. Everything else is gravy. So you could do some Google searches, whatever you want. Most important concepts in environmental science, make sure they're in your notes. If not, you add them. You could Google current events, environmental science, or top environmental science news stories 2021. And then if you hear something interesting that you didn't know about, go to the relevant unit. And if it's about watersheds, then just make a little note next to your watersheds. There was a big debate about developing a watershed in the San Francisco Delta, whatever. You should know that like law and order, the AP test is based on true events. So they may not ask you a question about the wetland in the San Francisco Delta, but they'll ask you about a wetland in a fictional place that has all the issues of that story from the San Francisco Delta. It's very common. If there's a lot of news stories this year about fracking, it's likely to be featured. If there was some big discovery about a gold mine in Alaska during 2021, then gold mining is likely to be a topic in 2022. Usually they'll write the questions about 9 to 6 months before the AP exam. So you can do the math, right? Like September, October, November last year. So look for news stories, environmental science in the fall of 2021. And some of those themes are likely to influence the questions you'll see in May of 2022. Maybe you can find some good YouTube lectures. Maybe there's some other teachers that have interesting stuff. Maybe you've got a good study guide. Any way that you can beef up your notes, that's what I'd like you to do this week. Print stuff, photocopy stuff, just keep it all organized. I'm going to read my chats now. Okay, so the first comment was about study goal number 4 in unit number 2. I think it's probably simpler if you just send me an email and I can answer this, but there are species that eat many things on the food chain. So an omnivore might eat this thing, but the omnivore also eats the food of this thing. So a seal might eat a fish, but the seal also eats the algae that the fish eats. So the seal is eating both, but when the seal eats this thing, then that puts it in competition for the food source of its prey. You can send me an email if you don't understand. Another one says, where did you find the topics our notes should include? I think you meant where the College Board content was. Is that what you meant in that second chat question? I'll show you. Thumbs up. I won't say your name, but the person who asked this question, thumbs up if you can see my shared screen. Okay, so this is College Board AP Central, I believe, and I've logged in the student view. So I think when you log in, it should look kind of like this. I have a crappy old browser. I'm on an ancient computer here. But I think you should see something roughly similar to this. And you go from home to courses and exam, which is here, courses and exam. Then you'll select the course that we're talking about now, which is one of the sciences, AP Environmental Science. Oh, I don't know. Oh, there you go. Go to course. And it'll take you to the page for AP Environmental Science, College Board. And then down toward the bottom, there's this thing called Environmental Science Course and Exam Description. That is the file that we were looking at a moment ago. It looks like this. And the very top page of this is this green, and it's got the course framework. The framework is the set of units that they want you to know. By the way, don't stress out. The average school nationwide teaches about 60 to 70% of that content. Miss Khan and I do somewhere between 75 and 85% of that content. I think both of us are doing better than the national average, but nobody could expect you to know all of it. I can't be expected to teach it all, and you can't be expected to retain it all. So you're just trying to find as much as you can and put it into your notes right now. Other questions, please put them in the chat. Yeah, nothing else. Other questions, student, don't add anything else into your week right now. I don't want you to do practice exams. I don't want you to do the specific assignments. I don't want you to do the math review. I don't want you to do the chemistry review. At this exact point, I want you to broaden your body of information as much as possible, because then we're going to get to a point where we don't add new info. So at this stage in your review, the only thing you got to do is just improve your notes, add in content, as much content as you can. What else? I promised you I was going to make it brief. This is all I have. Take a screenshot of this. And otherwise, I think I don't know, I'm here for you. What do you want to ask me? You don't have to feel bad. I'm actually getting paid. What do you want to ask me? Okay. I will stay on until all of you sign out. Are there any YouTube channels that I recommend for review? I wish there was, but I don't really know. If you tell me, I'll pass it on. Anybody got YouTube channels they recommend? Student who asked, I'm sorry, I also don't know any to recommend. Are the, oh, now we're getting questions. Great. Are the free response questions on the AP exam like the same format as our unit exams? Mostly yes. Our unit exams are exactly like 1998 until 2018. But in 19, 20, and 21, they've been doing a slightly different format. They're very similar. As a matter of fact, if you're in my class now, the energy exam that you took last Friday is about one half from last year, the other half from previous years kind of cobbled together. Conceptually, it's pretty close. And if you want to know more about the practice exams, I can't stop you, but I swear we have a plan to review the practice exams and the free response questions later. For now, I'd rather you not look at practice exams. Just give me one more week. Next week, we can get into that. Punctuated extinction is a mass extinction. Punctuated extinction is when there's a whole bunch of things going extinct at once. They're the big extinctions. By the way, they're always caused by rapid changes in climate. And rapid changes in climate are always caused by either volcanoes or meteors, until now, we're the other most rapid change in climate. Other questions you want to ask me? If you don't ask me anything, I'm done. You can leave. I'll end this recording and I'll put it up on Neo. You're welcome. Anybody else? You're welcome. Bye. See you, children. Bye. You're welcome.